Hello friends, it's Julie, and today we are doing our What's Sold video for the month of August. Yeah, I know we're in September. I'm not even going to talk about how things are flying by. Now, I'm really liking doing the theme kind of What's Sold. So what I'm doing today is one of my favorite types of postcards, which is Real Photo Postcards. And if you are not familiar with the Real Photo Postcards, they are actually real photos. I have this book that has been really helpful to me. It is the Real Photo Postcard Guidebook. John from Popeye Postcards had recommended this one to me, and thank you, John. This is a wonderful book, lots of great information in it. And so basically, some of these are one-of-a-kind postcards, so it's hard to price them sometimes. But let me talk about what sold recently. It may not all be from August. It might be a little bit later too, because I just want to give you a good sampling of the Real Photo Postcards. Now this first one is Jolly Eve, and I didn't know how to price this one because there wasn't another one out there. And here's the back. Somebody one time wanted $6, and she went on auction because I didn't know the pricing, and they sold for $26, and there were 6 bids. Now we have another auction one that I did, and this is obviously a studio because you can see here where the curtain meets the floor, and they are wearing the woolly chaps, and I don't know if they were actually cowgirls. They probably were just dressed up as them. And here is the full image, and the back, $16.49. And then we have this tugboat coming into the locks in St. George's, Delaware, and $14.97 is what I sold this one for. People like boats and transportation, so this is great. And then it has this souvenir from Monroe, Middleton, Pennsylvania. So if I have room, I put that on there because maybe somebody's looking for that. Otherwise, I don't know. But it was postmarked in Dillon and Anaconda, so I think I put some of that on Dillon. I put Dillon on there. I didn't have room for Anaconda. So those small towns I like to make note, especially, because I do specialize in Montana postcards. I want to have those keywords. Okay, now foreign ones, they are not usually worth as much. I sell them usually between $5 and $10. This one I took an offer for, but this is a pretty common site. It is Saint Anne de Beaupré. Okay, I'm not going to attempt it. It's province Quebec, and that went for $4 right there. And it does have some writing, but it was unposted. Then we have a train. Remember I said transportation goes, and I called it split railroad track. Because they could go either way here. And Real Photo Postcard. There's really not much else to say because you can't say a lot of location because it could be anywhere. And it did have this staining on the top, as you can see. And somebody originally wanted $2, and I got $12.97 for it. Then we have Coit Tower, Bay Bridge, San Francisco. So a lot of these old view cards are neat, but they also might be mass-produced in the more touristy spots. So I don't always seek these out, but California is a good seller. So this went for $5.47, and here is the overview. It's actually quite pretty with the clouds and stuff. Here's the tower and the bridge, and there is the back. Now we have a Mr. Gray riding Pluto, the lion, and this one went for $8.47. I think that was a zoom in. I don't do zoom ins much anymore, so that's the whole image. Here he is. And there were actually quite a few of these out there, so I didn't get top dollar for it, for a real photo, but it's better probably than, white border or chrome. Here is an art one. I've been selling a lot of art postcards because I list them. So it's kind of interesting. I never expected them to be so popular. Art ones I usually go for around $5.97, so I upped it a few dollars for a real photo. And here is a mask in New Guinea. And there is the back, which is upside down. It doesn't say on here that it is a photo. Excuse my head turning. But what I do is I take my loop and I test it. I look in there, and if there are any dots, printing dots, then it is not a real photo. It is a printed lithograph type. But if it's just smooth and everything looks like a photo, there's crisp lines and everything. You can do more research about it. Then it is a real photo. So that went for $8.97. Then we have a Charles Job farm in Sydney, Nebraska. And it shows right here that it was written. And now the interesting part, when you see this white lettering on the photo postcards, it's because on the negative they wrote what it was, and then it comes out like that. And they had a special pen for that, and they wrote backwards. So imagine, look at how nice that is, because sometimes the writing looks kind of sketchy, and that's because they wrote backwards on it. Okay, so this one I took a best offer for $20. And there's the back. It's just a field of wheat. It's interesting, but it's actually identifying the farm, which not all of them do. Okay, here's a real photo of a Native American. This got interest right away. I put this up for auction because I hadn't seen anything like this one. He has a hooded horse. I don't know what that means. There's lots of keywords I could have put. Here there's feathers, furs, West Bowman photo in Pendleton. You can see some, I think this is a squirrel. There might be rabbits hanging off of him. There's a teepee. There's all kinds of neat things to look at. And right away somebody said, I'll offer you, I think they said like $30 or something. And I said, sorry, I don't, and auctions early for offers. So I said, good luck on your bidding. And I think he was the one that won. So that's just something that I choose not to do, is to end an auction early, even though I might have made more money had I ended it early for a higher offer. So anyways, so this one went for $77, and here is the image and the back. Earthright Beach and Panorama in Ensenada, Mexico. Mexican postcards don't do too bad. So here is where it tells, and there's a symbol here, right here on the left. So is it an MF? It's probably, I probably could go back in this book now and see if I can find that symbol. But I didn't at the time. I probably didn't know enough about it at the time. So, because the 47 mark means that it was one of my earlier listings. I got $5.47 for this one, and you can see that there is clearly something going on here with the condition too. So it's not in the best shape. Here is Hammerfest Dock, and I might have showed this one to you before. There might be a couple repeats here. So this one, there's so much going in this image too. And you have all these cars. You've got bicycle, you've got a horse cart, you've got these little cans of something, people boarding a passenger ship, which is the main focus, I think, the dock of the photo. Didn't see the name of the ship. We've got the mountains in the background, and there's just so much going on in this photo. But of course it's foreign, so they don't always sell as fast. But this one, because of the $157 shipping, it actually did go international. So I took an offer for $14 on this one, and there it is. And we've got this bridge. Now this bridge looks like it should be worth something, because more than $4.97. But the thing is, it's not a rare image, and there's a lot of pictures of this bridge. There are other real photos of this bridge. So this is what I could do, for a price on this one. So not all real photo postcards are going to get you a lot of money. So $4.97 for this, and it actually is quite a nice composition. And of course I have my back upside down, and this is EKC, which tells you, the stamp box usually tells you the era and the time frame that they were produced, generally. Here's Gabby's Resort in Minnesota, and Red Lake Standard Oil Hams Beer. Now with real photo postcards, because they are photos, you can make out things more clearly. So I often take my loop, because I wanted to add some keywords, and somewhere in here is Hams Beer and Standard Oil. So there's the Standard Oil, and then I think the Hams Beer was it's on the right here. On that little shed to the right. So if you're not familiar, I grew up in Minnesota. Hams beer was pretty popular when I was growing up. I don't think it's in production anymore. So this went for $14.97. And the images of the Hams beer are small, but it's there. So now we got a Catholic church, and this is in Nebraska, and Crexo is the stamp box. So if I have room, I put that on the stamp box. So here is the church. And there is actually a power line there. And then we have, probably what was interesting in this one is the old street, because it looks like a dirt street. And you've got these buildings. There's a windmill out there too. And there's Eddyville, Nebraska. And this one I took an offer for $25. Here is the whole view. And here it has Cruxosy. And also the corners of the stamp box might help you to narrow down the error as well, because some of like the AZOs have arrows up and down that are different. So this is made by Butcher and Son in Kearney, Nebraska. Marching band football field, Ames, Iowa. Okay, so I didn't know where this was. This wasn't the right. I had another one, but then I zoomed in with my loop, and one of the drums said Ames, Iowa. So look at this cool old image. My mistake was not putting this up for auction. I should have. I did research on the other, like Ames, Iowa University postcards, and they're going, around $5-10. So I'm like, okay, I'll put $20. But then it sold almost immediately, which told me that, yeah, I should have put that one up for auction. But live and learn. Here's an Edwardian women. So you come across a lot of real photos of people just because they had their portrait done and then they had to put it on a postcard. You can often find these for really cheap because there's see there's damage up there too. But this was one of those studio backdrops where it looks like they're going to Salt Lake on a train, but they're not really. It's just a studio backdrop, studio train prop. So I make sure to put that because some people collect those apparently. So this went for $7.97, and here's the back where it says PMO, which is different, and the arrows up and down. Here is Club San Moritz in Switzerland, another foreign one. And there are some old cars. Look at all that snow. I'm actually looking forward to snow. We're going to get to 100 today, break some records. And here is the back, and it's Frasher's photo card with F. So it actually does tell you it's a photo card. And that went for $8.47. And here is the whole image. Cattle roundup in Montana, one of my favorite subjects. And here is the cattle roundup. It could be anywhere. It just says Montana. Here's the back, which is Kodak. Even though we don't know much about it, then I still got 1947 for it. And here's the R56RWQ. I don't know what that means, but I had space to put it in my subject line, so I put it there. Sometimes things mean something to people, sometimes they don't. Here's another portrait, but this one is a Navy sailor, and it actually had his name. So I like to put the names of the sailors when I can, because there are families looking for them, descendants who search online to find information about their ancestors. And I actually, early on, somebody asked me, because I think it was one of those sailor's mail postcards, and she said, which hospital was this or something, because he was working at a hospital. And I told her, and she said, well, I'm looking for this one, sorry. And she said, we had some kind of conversation. She said she checks every morning to see if something comes up. So I'm sure she's not alone in that. So this one went for $14.47. Here is his image. There's even like a thumbprint or something there. And the back, Frank Victor in the Navy. And just a side note here, when I was deciding what kind of theme I was going to do here today, one of the options that I was really leaning towards was military, but I didn't have as much in recent sales to share. Here is Anchorage, Alaska, Fort Richardson aerial view. It's a Berkeley, so here's Berkeley. And you really can't see the town very well, but I bet you it's changed now. And I got $5.93 for that. It must have been an offer or something. So there's that. And here's Ansco with stars, different stamp box. Here's Meriwether Picnic Ground in Helena, and it is an old sign. That's all. It's actually not a very clear photo either. And that went for $8.97, and the back is Kodak. Here is the God Figure Polynesia Museum of Primitive Art. Another art postcard, but he's really kind of interesting guy. I mean, a lot of the masks and things like that sold faster than the other ones. So that went for $8.97. There's the back. It doesn't have a stamp box. A lot of times these museums and such do not have stamp boxes. Here's another one of Edwardian women, and you can tell by the clothes they're Edwardian. They're not Victorian, although this lady on the right could be a crossover. So I believe this is another prop. You can see on the carpet there, there's carpet and a background prop. And of course, I mean, outside you don't have carpet usually. So I think sometimes people like the fashion And because look at these hats, like the feathers and stuff, and just how people dressed, and that lace on the neck. And this one only went for $5.50. I don't remember why. And so here's the image, the back, and oh, maybe it was the condition because it's not in the best condition. So AZO, and all the arrows are up. I didn't know what to call this guy. Distinguished gentleman seated, cigar, Detroit, Michigan. $9.47 is what I got for him. I might have shared this one before, but here he is in the close-up. Here the back is AZO up, and here it says this is where it was produced. Doesn't mean that's where he was from, but that's where that was produced, and there is the whole image. We have another international one, and this is Tijuana. Actually, Mexico ones sell pretty fairly well. And this is really neat because there's also a lot of things going on. There's a car, there's pedestrians, there's more cars, people crossing, more pedestrians. It looks like a busy town. You can see some street fronts, make out some names of the businesses probably. There's even, is that a milk guy or an ice cream guy right there in the center with his cart? All kinds of neat things. There's a clock, there's a Mexicali beer. So all kinds of wonderful things to look at. It's historically a great image. So this one went for $10, which I took a best offer on. In the back was EKC, Tarjeta Postal. And the last one was my highest priced Real Photo Postcard in the last couple months, and that is this one. And this one went for $100. I put it up in auction because the Falstaff beer, there's quite a few out there. I didn't see this one. And now somebody asked me about Worth Point, if I still subscribe to it. And I actually don't. I used to, but then I started to list a lot of common cards, so it didn't mean anything. But so if when in doubt now, I just put it up at auction, and seems to work okay. I know sometimes it might be getting a little less on auction, but you know, whatever. Maybe someday I'll join Worth Point again. Look at her clogs, wooden clogs. Okay, so there were 16 bids on this, and they didn't have this image, but they had other Falstaff that some of them only went for 20, but some, I think there were some in the 60 to 70 range. So I was really pleased at this one for what it did, and it was in great condition. And this is the back, so it has a Lemp St. Louis, and place your stamp there. So what do you think of Real Photo Postcards? Do you like them too? So there are some people who only sell Real Photo Postcards, which I can see the point because they are really fascinating postcards. And also they usually capture a bit more money than a regular postcard. However, my top selling postcard was over $400, and it was not a Real Photo Postcard, and I will post a link so you can see that video here. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think, and if there's a theme that you want me to do, you know, and I will consider that for next time. And I hope you have a joyful day. Goodbye.